Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really fascinating theological and historical breakdown of the ancient letter of Ephesians 3. We're going to examine this incredibly dense chapter through the analytical lens of two distinct scholarly voices. First, we have the contemporary, super practical notes of Miss Lee Carl, and second, the classic, foundational 1710 commentary of Matthew Henry. Whether you're already deeply familiar with ancient texts or you just love peeling back the layers of historical commentary, you're going to find this exploration absolutely fascinating. We've got some massive cosmic mysteries to unpack today, so let's jump right in.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our scholarly roadmap for today. 1. Revealing the hidden mystery. 2. The messenger and the mission. 3. Christ's unsearchable riches. 4. Strengthening the inner man. And finally, 5. The dimensions of love. All right, let's get started. Section 1. Revealing the hidden mystery.
I want to pose a question directly to you. What could this ancient mystery actually be? Just imagine being in that original audience, hearing the writer, Paul, boldly declare that he holds the inside knowledge to a secret literally concealed from humanity since the beginning of the world. I mean, what kind of revelation warrants that kind of cosmic buildup?
Well, the answer to that massive buildup is found in verse 6. It's the revelation that the Gentiles should be fellow heirs of the exact same body and partakers of the promise in Christ. Ms. Lee Carl's notes really hit the nail on the head regarding the significance here. She points out that Paul was given this special revelation specifically to feed the Gentiles who were newly grafted into God's church. Think about it. This was a massive paradigm shift. It was all about bringing complete outsiders directly into the core of the divine promise.
And Matthew Henry's 1710 commentary really underscores the absolute novelty of this theological knowledge. He points out that this hidden purpose of salvation simply wasn't clearly shown in previous ages. It's an exclusive, newly revealed truth that God would call the Gentiles to salvation. So this mystery wasn't just some riddle to be solved. It was a completely new way of organizing humanity under divine grace. It was a real game changer.
Section 2. The messenger and the mission.
And this brilliantly illustrates the tension of Paul's daily life. Take a look at the stark paradox of his reality. On one hand, his physical situation, a prisoner of Jesus Christ, literally locked in chains. It's wildly ironic, right? A man confined to a tiny first-century cell is writing about infinite cosmic dimensions. But on the other hand, we have his spiritual reality, a minister with boldness, possessing incredible confidence and direct access to the divine. Matthew Henry notes that, even as a prisoner, Paul was the object of special protection. He was physically bound, sure, but spiritually liberated to deliver a message that would alter the universe.
So how does someone actually pull off a mission under those intense circumstances? Well, Miss Lee Carl's notes offer a really profound insight into the mechanics of this calling. It breaks down like this. Step 1, receive grace. Step 2, receive the duty. Step 3, execute the mission via divine power. Miss Carl emphasizes a really crucial point here. God gives us duties, absolutely, but only after we have the grace to actually do them. Paul received the grace to be the minister first, and then an effectual working of divine power attended that grace, fully qualifying him for the office.
But wielding that kind of power requires a very specific kind of vessel. In the text, Paul describes himself as less than the least of all saints. Matthew Henry interprets this beautifully. He says, "Those whom God advances to honorable employments, he makes low in their own eyes." Henry explains that where God gives the grace to be humble, he provides all other needful grace. It's the ultimate humility required to carry out a cosmic role. Because let's be honest, you simply can't carry a message this massive if your own ego is taking up all the room.
Section 3. Christ's unsearchable riches.
Let's just pause for a second and really try to grasp the immense value being defined here. Unsearchable riches. This isn't just about abundance, it's about boundless, inexhaustible spiritual wealth and wisdom. We're talking about an offer so incredibly vast that it literally cannot be fully mapped out or quantified by the human mind. It's absolutely staggering when you think about it.
To help us wrap our heads around the sheer magnitude of this wealth, Henry draws a truly stunning parallel. Think about the first creation, the physical genesis of the entire universe, where God makes all things out of absolutely nothing. Now compare that to the new creation, where sinners are made new creatures by converting grace. Both of these monumental events, Henry points out, are accomplished by Jesus Christ. He is equating the spiritual rebirth of a single person in scale and power to the physical creation of the universe itself. That is the true awe-inspiring scope of these unsearchable riches.
However, as you might guess, this message isn't universally embraced. Henry's commentary provides a pretty stark observation on how different audiences react to this eternal purpose. He notes that while angels in heavenly places adore the manifold wisdom of God in this redemption, self-wise and carnal men look at the exact same message and deem the whole thing to be foolishness. It's a fascinating split, and it perfectly captures the complex, challenging reality of Paul's mission.
Section 4. Strengthening the inner man. Now, verse 16 introduces a really vital concept, that we might be strengthened with might by His Spirit in the inner man. Notice the shift here. We are moving away from the external tribulations Paul faced, the literal prisons, the physical suffering, and we are turning entirely toward internal spiritual resilience.
So the crucial point is, why is this internal strengthening so absolutely necessary? Well, Miss Lee Carl's notes give us a highly practical breakdown for this. First, to fully follow the Lord. Second, to fight godless philosophies. And third, to combat wayward influence. She rightly points out that our strength must be increased internally because the world's philosophies and influences have to be fought with strength. It is an absolute, non-negotiable requirement for spiritual survival in a very challenging world.
But what does that internal strength actually look like in our day-to-day lives? Miss Carl distills this dense doctrine into something highly actionable. She notes that Christ's doctrine requires three things: the love of God, the love of man, and brotherly empathy. And that is exactly how the theology becomes practical for us. It's not just about mentally guarding your mind against philosophies, it's about actively cultivating deep, empathetic relationships with the actual people around you.
Section 5. The dimensions of love.
In this section, the text asks us to comprehend four distinct dimensions: breadth, length, depth, and height. I want you to visually stack those in your mind for a second. We are clearly not talking about a flat, one-dimensional emotion here. The writer is deliberately trying to create a sense of expanding, infinite scale for the reader. He wants you to comprehend a love that stretches endlessly in every conceivable direction.
And then, the text hits us with this incredible paradox: to know the love of Christ which passeth knowledge. I mean, just look at the inherent tension in that statement. The reader is being commanded to intimately and deeply know and root themselves in something that the text simultaneously admits completely surpasses all human comprehension. You are literally being asked to grasp the ungraspable. How wild is that?
Which leads us perfectly into the final structural element we're looking at today, the doxology. It's a beautiful conclusion of praise. The text gives glory to a power that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Do you see how it loops right back to that inner man we discussed earlier? That unimaginably vast, universe-creating power isn't just floating out there in the cosmos somewhere. It's an internal, active working power right within the individual.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question based on all these sources. If the power working within us truly exceeds all human thought and imagination, if it is truly unsearchable, how does actively strengthening our inner man change what we actually dare to ask for in our own lives? It's a profound question, and it takes this ancient text and places it squarely in your lap today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep exploring and keep asking those big questions.